What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to do a quick review of the IETS GT500 turbo fan laptop cooler. In this review, I'll tell you everything you need to know about this laptop cooler, including one thing I think you should know before buying. All right, so I personally got this laptop cooler because I will from time to time play games on my laptop, primarily first-person shooters. Mostly Apex Legends, to be honest with you, but I will play them sometimes. The other thing is there's a fair bit of video editing that I do on my laptop. So for a few different reasons, I needed something that could really kind of keep the temperature down, and this device actually does an amazing job with it. But before we get into cooling, I just want to talk a little bit about the lights. So they added this later, I don't know exactly when, but it's pretty cool functionality. So you have to obviously plug it in, turn it on. And when you do, you can change the different modes of the lights below it. So for you hardcore gamers, I think this is a really cool feature that you can do, right? And you can also adjust the speed of everything that's basically being shown. So there's a lot of different like modes that they have here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's just a ton of different modes that you can do. And I think it's pretty cool. You can also change the colors of everything if it's not in this type of mode. There's just a lot of things that you can do in terms of the colors of the LED lights and everything, which is a pretty cool, little add-on to this, if you ask me. Beyond that, I just want to point out too, this is nice. It is magnetic. I just think that's a nice little touch. It really makes sure that the pad stays in place. Obviously, your laptop would sit on here. It really weirded me out at first that this was wide open, but I mean, that makes sense. Sometimes you'll find like a mesh screen or something, but they don't have that here. Here, it's just straight to the fan, which is nice because it really does keep your computer a lot cooler. Now, it's also worth noting, I use it like this. You can obviously remove different segments of the styrofoam. They have the cutout, depending on the size of your laptop. For me, this is the perfect one, so I'm not gonna really mess with that. But this is that, that works well. It also has, if you want to, you can completely remove the foam altogether. I prefer to keep it on because it helps it kind of stay in place better, but you can completely remove it if you want to, and you can adjust these too. If you have a bigger laptop that needs to sit and you just don't have enough room, you can do all that. So it's very adjustable in that regard. Another thing that's cool is if you turn it over right here, so you can see it has just kind of the primary stand, if you will. So if you just do that, you could basically set it up like this. But if you want to go much higher than that, you can take these and adjust them to however you want, right? And then you can have a much higher stand. You do it on both sides. You can have a much higher stand if you prefer to really have your laptop kind of on an angle. So me personally, I don't really care about any of that. I basically leave my laptop right over here, and I have dual monitors when I'm playing. So I usually just turn off a monitor and play on one monitor and just have it sit. So that's how my setup is. Everyone's gonna be different with that, but that's how I do it. Now, in terms of the fan itself, so we've got the power on right now, and we're just going to get it going here. So I know this sounds really loud. We can adjust the speed right here, which is nice. You can adjust the speed. This is a little bit more quiet, right? But more importantly here, let me get the laptop on top of this thing to show you. Before I do that, I'm gonna show you what the temperature is before we set it onto here as well, and then after. All right, so right now I've got this set up. It's 46 degrees Celsius. I actually don't know how to turn that into Fahrenheit. Utilization, we have it about 21%. Try to get a little higher here just with some video and things like that. I'm not actually playing the game just because it's gonna be hard to do that while I'm doing this review. But we're at about 21% utilization and about 40, 47, 48. The temperature here just keeps adjusting. All right, so you can see here, I have it on the laptop cooler, so it's right where it should be. And now the temperature is about 40 degrees, right? So obviously this makes a really big difference. Utilization is similar as well. So yeah, it makes a huge difference. I mean, this really, really does work. Okay, so before you go out and buy this, let me tell you one thing two things I think you should know. First off, if you have the fan all the way up, right? With the laptop on, you heard it was a lot more quiet, right? But if you have it all the way on with the laptop on, it's still, you're gonna hear it. I mean, it's a loud fan, right? There's a nice big fan in here that'll actually cool it down. You see it works, but just keep that in mind. It's probably something you're gonna wanna use with headphones or something like that. Unless the noise just doesn't bother you. But that's the first thing. The second thing to note is that, and I didn't really realize this when I purchased it, you have to be plugged in. So one of the things that I liked, and I've used it for this purposes, is that if you're just sitting on the couch, editing a video, sometimes your laptop will just run warm, right? And that's one of the things that's kind of frustrating. So I was looking for a laptop cooler that I could just basically set my laptop on and it'll keep me from not getting burned, but having, you know, a warm lap. This does a good job of, you know, dispersing heat, making sure that you're not as warm as just the laptop itself, right? So I think that's important to note. But do note that in order to get its full cooling power, you have to actually have it plugged in. You can unplug it and just use it like this, right? And I do that plenty of times, but just keep that in mind. That's something I wasn't aware of. Really not a big deal for me. It's really nice, you know, when I'm sitting at my desk, which is primarily what I'm doing, to, you know, keep my computer continually going well, which is definitely the most important thing. So if you're considering it like a hardcore one for gaming, especially, or like I said, heavy video editing, this is great, and we definitely recommend it.